What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today I'll be talking about some talented players who I think the U.S. men's national team should add to their squad. And these are new players coming to the team who I think bring a lot, whether it's an individual skill or maybe they just raise the floor of the entire team. We know that depth was a pretty big issue for us at the World Cup, albeit kind of a self-inflicted wound by Berhalter. But I think these are players who could really add a lot to the team, and I'd like to see them involved moving forward, and this is a great window to give them a shot. First player is somebody that I've been high on for a long time. I think we all have. Daryl Dike. Just a game breaker at any level. Like, this guy is probably the strongest player in the world, and he's got a good amount of speed to boot. Like, he can get in behind defenses. He's a lot faster than we give him credit for. And in addition to that, he's been scoring goals at a very high level in a championship, and that's a good level to be playing at. And I think he's doing well. And I think when you add him, especially in a national team setup, when he's going to be going up against defenders who probably have never played against an athlete like DK in his life, he could just come in and just destroy some teams. Like, I think if you've been a fan of like the FA Cup and you've seen Akin Fenwell come on, there are just some times where he'll embarrass young defenders who are a lot better than him because they've just never played against a guy like him. And I think DK can do that. And like, imagine against the Netherlands, I think he'd be able to give someone like a Nathan Ake a very hard time. And because of that, I think that he'd be great to have in the team. Now we know about his limitations. He's not the greatest player technically, especially when you compare it to Ricardo Pepi, Josh Sargent, Haji Wright. There's a guy we'll get into later. But I think with the athleticism that DK brings and honestly the goal scoring that isn't a given with USA strikers, I think he's somebody that he needs to be involved with this team moving forward. Next is Taylor Booth, who's been playing very well with Utrecht in the Netherlands. And Booth is a very good player on the ball. He has a lot of technical ability. He was with Bayern Munich for a very long time. Wasn't able to break through there, which is understandable. But I think Booth has a good amount of skill he can bring to this team. In addition, his box to box play has been very solid. He's shown a lot of good defensive work rate, and I think we can put him in this team, and he would do very well in a 4-3-3 that we tend to play a lot. And I think with the technical ability that he brings, he would be a huge upgrade over a lot of guys we have in the midfield, like playing Kellen Acosta at the 8, having Christian Roldan come into the field. I know that's not the standard that we should be looking towards, but he is somebody who raises the floor of this team and provides with a lot more depth, and he doesn't sacrifice much defensive ability to do that. I think that puts him above someone like a Gianluca Busio at the moment. And with Georgi Mihalovic not playing much right now, I think that Taylor Booth is somebody we should definitely give a look to for the national team. Next is Bryan Reynolds. He's been doing very well recently with Westerlo in Belgium. We all know that he made the move to Roma and Jose Mourinho and young players. We know how it goes. But he's been playing very well recently. He's become a consistent starter for his first time in Europe, and he's been looking pretty good. He's showing a lot of good defensive attributes. We know about his athleticism. That's very good. His ability on the ball, 1v1s, it's been getting better. And then when we look at his height, that's very good. He's got all the physical traits you need, honestly, to be a center back. But, we still know that he needs to put it all together. His attacking ability has been coming along a little bit. He has a very good cross on him, and I think it is coming along, but he's still not the finished product. I wouldn't play him above like a Joe Scally, probably even a Serginho Dest right now. But I think with how well he's been doing, with the potential that he's been showing, he's somebody I want to get involved with this national team because I think he is probably better than a DeAndre Yedlin or a Shaq Moore at the moment. And we want to be getting these core guys together as much as we can now so we can have the best team possible come 2026. And with the potential that he's flashed, I want Bryan Reynolds to be in the squad. For MLS players, I think we'll really have to wait until the season progresses to see who should be with the national team. There are a lot of guys I'm looking at, especially at the goalkeeper position. But there's one guy who I think really should be with the national team right now, and that's DeJuan Jones. He's one of the only standouts at Camp Cupcake, showing a lot of potential at that right back position. And in addition, we know about his versatility. He's been playing left back for New England, and despite being a right footed player, he has done a very good job there. And I think with his versatility, that's a huge asset for the national team. Left back is a position that's been a huge struggle for us. Outside of Jedi Robinson, there's nobody I feel really comfortable with. And if Serginho Dest is unavailable, I think that DeJuan Jones might be one of our top options at that spot. And in addition, I think defensively, he's a very good player at that a right back spot or left back, depending on which side. Though I think he will have to be a right back long term with the national team, especially with our lack of lefty attackers. But I think Jones, he's done enough to get a look. I like his athleticism. He can provide a lot going forward, and I think he's somebody we should give a look to. I think he can at least be a very serviceable backup, and with his versatility, I think he's somebody I want to see in the squad. And I think DeJuan Jones could possibly positively impact the national team moving forward. Speaking of that lack of lefty attackers, Kevin Paredes has been doing very well at Wolfsburg recently. He's been getting a lot of playing time and even a couple starts with them. He's had a really good goal, he got an assist, and he's showing his stuff as a potential youngster in the Bundesliga. And I think with the aforementioned lack of lefty attackers, I would really like to get him into the fold. I think that he's a player who has a lot of talent. Even when he was in MLS with DC United, I think he was playing better than Paul Arriola, which again isn't the standard, but I don't think that he's somebody who would really lower the level of the team. And in addition, he has a good amount of defensive work rate. The question for him for a long time was what his position would end up being, because we know how well he could do at that left back spot. And again, with a lack of left back depth, it would be good to have him in the team. And he is somebody who might not be completely ready for this. He's not a consistent starter. And like if you want to have him with the U20 team, that's perfectly understandable. But I think he's somebody that we definitely should be giving a look to. And honestly, I'm when you compare him to like a Zendejas, who's the other option at this lefty attacker spot, I think I'd prefer to have Kevin Paredes in this team because I think he does have a ton of potential and he will be somebody who would be just a huge asset to us moving forward. And I think he's someone who should be with this national team right now. And last but certainly not least, we're going to address the elephant in the room. Folarin Balogun just been amazing in League On for Reims this season. The Arsenal player has just been on fire, an amazing goal scorer, and honestly, probably a complete player. I'm not going to get into his profile too much because the issue with him is he's could easily play for England. And I mean, pretty easily. Harry Kane's obviously their striker at the moment. But when you look at the rest of there, it's like Callum Wilson, Tammy Abraham, like Ollie Watkins. Ivan Toney's probably not going to be an option anymore. So I think that there's a very good chance that Southgate calls up Balogun, especially with what he did with Tamori when Kando was very interested in him. But there is always that chance that he is available for us. And if Balogun can play for us, he's instantly our starter at striker and a core player for this team. I'm hoping that Yunus Musa is giving him calls. Hopefully, Austin Trusty's in like an Arsenal loanee group chat with him. Like, I don't know. He's somebody who we really want to have involved with this squad because, man, he looks like he might be a world class player one day. And I don't say that lightly. He would be just an amazing player to have in our team. And hopefully we can get him. I mean, I'm not going to discount on him because I think that he could play for England, and I think he knows that. But if we can get Balogun, that would be insane, and we definitely offer for him to play for us in March because he is that good. So those are some players who I want involved with the national team moving forward. I think we all know about the huge lack of depth we had at the World Cup, but I think that was honestly self-inflicted by Berhalter. He chose to call up a Jordan Morris, a Christian Roldan, and Aaron Long, Jesus Ferreira. And while I think Ferreira does have potential for the future, many of those players should not be involved in the national team moving forward. And if we're able to upgrade some of those spots, like get Bryan Reynolds in for Shaq Moore and DeAndre Yedlin, get Daryl Dike in for Ferreira, get Taylor Booth in for Roldan, I think this team will look a lot better moving forward. We'll see that we have a lot more options in this team. And I think we can get a lot better, but we should be giving these new guys a chance. And it's not going to be a perfect ratio. Like Bryan Reynolds, we know him from baseball too, like we're going to strike out a couple times, but I think that's fine. We should be experimenting with this team because we've got a long road ahead to that World Cup, but 3 years is shorter than you realize, and we should be giving as many of these guys a chance as possible right now so we can come prepared for the best team possible. And yeah, that's all I talk about. See you.